Hi, this is Phil Shapiro. I'm here with Megan Brody, and we're working on a collaborative creative writing project. Megan is a creative writer and works at the Michigan State University Library, a library person and a writer. You just can't get any better than that. And so we're working on this project called Grade Librarian, which is like a television show. It's kind of sort of a pilot of a television show that I came up with, and it's open source. Anybody can work on this. You can look it up if you're interested. There's a YouTube video called Grade Librarian that sets the general storyline. And right now, Megan and I were working on this last week, and we're going to continue working today. This is the first day of work. So here's the general gist of the storyline. There is a town where they were going to close the library, and Maria is this homeschooling girl, and her parents said that unless she gets involved in the community civic life, she has to go to the regular school. So she's highly motivated to get into civic life. And so she stands up at a city council meeting when they're going to close the public library because they don't have funding. She says, I'm going to be the town librarian, part-time, not full-time, because she's a homeschooling student, and she's going to keep the library open. So this is her first day of work, and Megan and I were working on this last week, and we're going to continue this today. So I'll just bring you up to speed on what we were working on last week. And then you can also see this process of visible writing where we're coming up with a story, and you get to see the story emerge. We're in Google Docs, and we're also recording the Zoom session using a screencasting software. So this is her first day of work. So after the city council voted to allow Maria to open the library as a volunteer librarian, Maria was filled with both anticipation and a touch of the fear of the unknown. How would people react? So she was going to go to the library early, make sure everything was working. It'd been closed for 3 months, so she needed to make sure everything, was suitable for the public to come in, dust it off. And so she had to get the key of the library from the city council president. So the city council president was going to direct the former paid librarian to give the key to Maria, but that would be unkind because that person's job has come to an end, and it wouldn't be kind to ask the paid librarian to give the key to the library to the volunteer librarian. So just as a matter of dignity, the city council asked the former librarian to drop the key off with them, and then they're going to bicycle it over to Maria's house. Maria lived on this hill. Well, that's kind of interesting. And then the city council president bicycled up the hill to give the key to Maria. So, Maggie, now Maria has the key. And it's she goes down there. The library's going to open on a Monday, and she's down there on a Sunday. Right. And she has just 2 or 3 hours to get the place ready. And
stressful. Lots to go on.
It's right. And she'll run around the building, make sure the lights are working. And I think there'd be a really interesting plot twist that she finds out that the toilet is not working, and she needs to find somebody to fix the toilet before the morning. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then, so wouldn't that be an interesting plot twist? So
I like that.
Tell me what happens now. So, I guess one of the first things she does is, was she emptied the book drop, right?
Right, yeah. And we had that idea about her finding an unpublished manuscript in there, and that would be a way to introduce a new character, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That was so interesting.
I like that a lot.
So let's write that, and then we'll get to the broken toilet as like the second part of the chapter. But let's do that. So you can start writing now. I'll jump into. Why don't you start typing?
Great. Okay, let's see. So
Maria was emptying the book drop. Mm-hmm. As Maria, was emptying the book drop,
when she noticed an unbound manuscript, maybe?
A homemade book, like a homemade book. A homemade book, right? A homemade book.
We can sort of go into as she was separating the library books. Well,
right.
Let's say, I'm trying to say, like, as she was taking these books out of the book drop,
Sorting
and how did she notice about that?
right.
Right.
Right, yes. Yeah, so as she was sorting the books, like you take the books out of book drop and you sort them into, right, sort them to be reshelved, right?
Right.
As she was sorting the books to be reshelved,
Mm-hmm. We could just pull that sentence down there. As she was sorting the books to be reshelved, she noticed the homemade book.
That's right. That's it.
Right.
That's it. She noticed a homemade book. Right. And so that, we can take out.
Yeah, we'll take that out and we can replace this.
Right. As was the books from the book drop. So I'm going to type in here the book drop.
Okay,
She's
right.
sorting the books from the book drop. I'll just put it in a sentence. The first thing she did is empty the book drop. The first thing she did after getting into the library was to empty the overflowing book drop.
That's good.
Book drop. So we always have a visual, so people are, there's a visual.
Right. And one thing I like to include too in my creative writing especially is like keeping the timeline in mind. So maybe we should include somewhere, is this Sunday late at night or is this early Monday morning, were we saying?
Oh, right. So absolutely. So people, yeah. So we should put that in there. Yeah, let's put in a paragraph of time chronology.
Right.
So we can say, just come down here. Let me put up my cursor here and tab over. So the library was going to open for the first time Monday afternoon at, so the library's hours was going to open for the first time Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m. The regular hours for the library were 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. 2 p.m. to 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Right. Monday through Friday. To allow Maria to do her homeschooling in the morning.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Excellent. And so I'll write the next sentence. This is great fun, right?
Yeah, I
it's
love
like
this.
It's like tag wrestling, but there's no wrestling.
Right.
No wrestling. No wrestling whatsoever. Okay. So the library's going to open first time. She went down. So she went down to the library. She went down to the library on her own. On her own, right? Like,
yeah.
She didn't go with the parents. Like she went down to the library on her own at 8 p.m. Sunday evening. Her parents insisted that this was her project and she needed to do it on her own, which is surprising, right? It's a little surprising,
yeah.
Right.
Introducing that little bit of tension there.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so she's on her own. So that means we can kind of establish her as a character. She doesn't seem...
Right.
Her parents aren't going to be resources in her
Right.
working on the library.
Right.
So that's interesting. She's going to have to outsource
it. And then call us if you need us, her dad said. Right? Call us if you need us. Boom. Right?
Great.
The first she did getting to was empty the overflowing book drop. She noticed a homemade book. Okay. Now, remind me, what was the idea about this book? So the book was...
Yeah, it was a self-published, or I guess not even published yet, just something somebody had created, and that was going to be a new way for us to introduce a sort of character. I think, like, our plan, to me, sort of sounds like right now we're in the process of gathering people who will be able to help her out at the library and sort of start volunteering and taking on jobs that she can't necessarily do herself. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think that's excellent. Right. We have to assemble the cast of characters for this television show. Mm-hmm. By the way, I heard on the news they're canceling all these different cop shows, and so the television producers, maybe some of the smart ones, are looking for a new kind of show, and they really ought to consider having a show about a library.
Absolutely. I think like libraries are such a great backdrop for stories of any kind, because like everybody comes in there, everybody uses it. I think that's a fantastic idea.
And it's also easy to write about it, because the library is where any human interest can show up.
Right.
Right. And sometimes it's sad and sometimes it's happy, but too often with cop shows it's sad.
Right.
There's not a ton of cop shows where there's like a happy something.
Right.
So as we were researching the books, now she flipped through the book. Right, so she flipped through the book, right? She flipped through the book and noticed, what did she notice? And noticed, what was, maybe there's a collection of writing and drawings. She noticed that the author had a talent both literary and artistic.
That's good.
Right, the author had both literary and artistic talent. Right.
I like that.
You could say, I'll write the next sentence. The book was obviously self-published, but it had an aura. Is it an aura? It had an aura.
Had an aura of professionalism maybe, but do you know what I'm trying to get at? Like,
aura, we don't want to be too cliched, but like a magical aura, or it had an aura that dragged you in.
Yeah, that's good.
That dragged you in.
Right, sucked you in as a reader.
Although we have to be careful about the cliches. We try dragged you in, sucked you in, or let's say dragged you in. I think sucked you in might be a little bit more of a cliche. But what do you think? I mean, but it had an aura that made you want to explore, that made you want to find out what the author was going to, where the author was going with their line of thinking. That made you want to follow where the author was going with their line of thinking. Dragged you in, and that made you. Made you want to follow where the author was going with their line of thinking. With their line of thinking. Okay?
So line of thinking to me makes me think something more non-fiction. Like if we're talking about literary and artistic talent, should we maybe go with something a bit more... Because line of thinking to me, I think like essays or like,
You're absolutely right.
So maybe something...
Right. So we shouldn't use line of thinking. Where the author was going with their desired, with their, it's a journey, right? They're going on a
journey, like following the characters
with their journey, their thought journey.
That's a good place to start.
Thought journey, right? That's better than line of thinking.
This is the real writing process, just line by line thinking, what's a better word for that?
Yeah. Author's going with their thought journey. I don't know, thought journey. Maybe it's is that presumptuous? I don't know. Maybe we could always change it later, but
first draft,
For now.
Right.
Okay.
And should we add in a line about, so we covered the literary artistic, or the literary talent, but now should we go into the artistic? Like, are these self-drawn pieces that are describing the character's journey?
Right. I have no idea, like, what's in this book.
Right. Maybe we should think about that.
Yeah. Well, so let's think about what the theme of the book is. So the theme of the book is, and we can wrap it in like the theme of the book is like part of the theme of this whole fifth grade librarian. So the theme of the book is pursuing the counterintuitive. So this is counterintuitive to have a librarian who's a fifth grader.
Right.
So the theme of the book is The theme of the book is the courage to pursue the counterintuitive. How about that?
That's really good. I like that. And that's really cool. An interesting device, too, to sort of have this mirror parallel story that we have going on. So I'm interested to see how we continue talking about this book, if we can do it like in tandem.
Right. The book itself and the character and the conversations as so that was going with their story. So Maria didn't have much time to ingest this book. Maria did not have much time to peruse the book. Or do you like the word ingest? What do you think? What are other words?
I like peruse because she's just sort of going through it right now. Yeah.
Not much time to peruse the book, but she gained a sense that this book had a theme of
courage. We could just say
being courageous in pursuing the counterintuitive.
I like that. It's kind of almost an odd sentence to say, pursuing the counterintuitive, but I like that a lot.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's not a cliche. It's not
right,
a cliche.
Exactly. That's what we don't want.
Right. And so she set the book aside, right? She set the book aside for now. And continued her
reshelving.
No, she was walking around the library, like to make sure the library's ready for opening. Continued her tour.
That's good.
Her tour of the library facilities.
That's great.
Her inspection. It's not the tour. So she's inspecting, right? She's
inspection of the library facilities.
Facilities, I like that. Right. Yeah, everything seemed to be in order. It's like, so we can say everything seemed to be in order. Everything seemed to be in order. The last.
Except.
And then that's the foreshadowing. The foreshadowing.
Right.
Everything expected to be in order. Period. The last thing on her inspection was the bathroom. Oh, and that's part of the previous paragraph.
Oh, okay.
Everything's okay.
Last thing on her inspection was the bathroom.
And then people read that and they go, "Oh no!" Like, "Oh no!" And then so she's going to say, and we're going to use that word, "Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!" she cried, as she inspected both the men's and women's bathrooms. Both of them had problems with the toilet working.
Not what you want to find when you're a few hours away from opening.
This is not what you want to find a few hours of the day before, a few hours, or the day before, it's actually.
Right.
The day before the library reopens.
8 p.m. Sunday.
How could she find a plumber late on a Sunday evening? She did the only thing she could, right? She called up her best friend, who happened to live adjacent to a plumber. She did the only thing she could think of, which was to call up her best friend, who lived adjacent to a plumber. So, and then she can ask her friend, "Is the plumber's lights on at the house?" Right? So that we can call, right? Right?
Yeah, I like that.
So we have to just introduce the friend. The friend. What's the friend's name? Can you tell me the friend's name? What's the friend's name?
Oh, that's a good question. Names are
Do you know
always
what?
hard.
Let me tell you. We should try and come up with the name of a character who's neither male nor female, and then so that everybody throughout the story goes, is that a boy or a girl? And nobody really knows, and it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter.
That.
So let's try.
Alex comes to mind, or
we want a non-conforming name. We want a name that is gender fluid, right? A gender fluid, they call it, name. And you like Alex? I think Alex. You're right. There's Alex. I think in my mind, which is admittedly prejudiced and privileged, sure, Alex is just too often male associated. I mean, there are some Alex women, but let's try and come up with a name that has very little association with anything. Let's try and invent a name. I know it's a bit of a creative challenge.
Yeah, a little bit.
A bit of a creative challenge. So, but at least we know what we want. We know what we want, right?
That's true, right?
She called her friend. How about Satcha? S-A-T-S-H-A, Satcha? It's like a Sasha, but like Satchmo or Sasha. Sasha's a woman's name, men's name. It's a men's name. Maybe it's a woman's, I don't know.
That's great.
Do you like Satcha?
Satcha? Can you spell it out on the doc?
She called her friend Satcha.
I like that. Yeah.
I mean, I want the word so that when people see it, they go, I don't know if that's a girl or boy. Or I want them, even better is I want them to have, I want them to assign something and then have doubts that their assignation was the correct one, or whether it was even worth having an assigning at all. Does it matter?
Yeah.
Does it matter or not matter? And that can actually be an interesting theme. When people come to the library and they talk to Maria, she goes, does that matter or not matter?
That's
and then
good,
people,
yeah.
What she's doing is she's not only giving information, but she is dispensing wisdom.
Challenging biases. I love that.
That'd be so interesting. It'd be so interesting. She called her friend Satcha. Do you know what? Maybe we can just be very open and clear about it. An NB. And people don't know what NB is. Non-binary.
Okay, great.
Yeah. An
great,
NB.
Perfect.
And then people look up what is an NB, okay? Because people need to know what an NB is, okay? She called her friend an NB who happened to and asked.
Well, are we assuming that? So Maria knows that she lives, or that her friend lives next to a plumber.
Call her actually, do you know what? Let's make this a little more tension. She called her best friend to ask for advice. Okay?
There we go.
To ask for advice. That's what you do. You call your best friend to ask for advice. You don't know what's going to happen, right? She called her friend Satcha and said, Satcha, I'm here at the library. The toilets are not working. The toilets are not working.
What do I do?
Where can I find a plumber late on a Sunday evening? Satcha had an answer for everything.
That's good.
Had an answer for everything, right?
I like that. Characterization, yeah.
Yeah, Satcha had an answer for everything. And so, and they, of course, Satcha is they, right off the bat. Right.
Yeah.
And they explained, as it happens, my neighbor is a plumber, and I can see that her lights are still on at her house, right?
Yes, great.
Let me give her a call. To see if she might be available. I'll be back in touch.
Great. So now we kind of have Maria waiting for the callback, right?
Maria was slightly relieved. Would the neighbor be able to come over? Would they be able to come over? Come over to fix the plumbing? Plumbing. Or the toilets. We can say toilets or plumbing. Would the neighbor be able to... And then... Would the neighbor be able to come over to fix the plumbing?
So we kind of have her waiting right
she's
now.
She's waiting. Right.
So what is she doing while she's waiting? Is she just pacing because she's so nervous?
Right. Let's add some tension so that her friend Satchma doesn't call back like it's taking a while.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Right. Let's create a little tension. Right. Create a little tension.
Great. I love that.
Maria said to Maria sharpened a few more pencils. Sharpened a few more. They call them the golf pencils, little baby pencils at the reference desk. Did you know they're called golf pencils? Did you know that?
I've heard that a few times before.
The golf pencils, the small golf pencils at the reference desk. Reference desks, and awaited her friend's call. 15 minutes progressed to 20 minutes. How long does a short phone call? How long does a short phone call take? Maria wondered to herself, right? And then, why didn't you write the next sentence? So, how long does a short phone call take, Maria? Her worrying. What did we say? Her worrying rose. She began to worry. Her worrying rose again.
Her worrying rose.
Her worrying rose, until her phone rang.
I like it.
Until her phone rang.
Okay. And then...
no, instead of having dialogue. So, Satchma explained that her neighbor would be available. Explained that her neighbor would be available to come and fix the plumbing.
Fix that. There we go.
But there was a proviso. Was a proviso.
Did you have an idea for that proviso?
I do. I got this great proviso. I got a great proviso. The neighbor wants to learn computer programming.
There we go.
And not from any adult. And not from any adult. Right. The neighbor wants to learn computer programming from Maria. Okay? And Maria doesn't know computer programming, but she doesn't have a choice. So she has to say yes, which means that Maria has to learn computer programming to teach the neighbor, right?
There we go, yeah.
Right? Wants to learn from Maria.
Though Maria didn't know computer programming, she didn't have a choice. How's that?
Right. If the neighbor wanted to learn computer programming, Maria was going to teach her. If the neighbor wanted to learn computer programming, Maria was going to teach her.
I like that determination. That's another form of characterization we have going now.
Yes, right. Okay, so I think we're going to take a stop at this point. We've done some really interesting plot development, and we can continue this maybe even next week or next time we have a free time together.
Great.
And so I'm going to stop our screencasting, and we're going to see what this looks like with the good quality audio And did you see how I changed the font from black to blue?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, more attractive to the eye.
I agree.
You know what? Small things make a big difference. And that's actually part of the story. Like, this is part of the wisdom that Maria likes to tell people. Like, people come to the library and she goes, did you know small things make a big difference? It's like one of the themes of the story, right?
Right, absolutely.
So, but it's also part of the theme of the writing of the story.
Right.
So
all ties in, yes.
Yeah. So anyway, here I go. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to stop the screen share. And then...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a lot of fun.